Hello and welcome to episode 279 of the Should I Play This Game podcast for the 10th of April 2023. Happy Easter to you, Steve. How are you?
And to you as well. That's what I got.
Okay. Fair enough. So you're obviously on school holidays until when are you back? Is it
technically, my holidays haven't started yet. They technically start tomorrow because of a long weekend.
Oh, righty-ho. So you're okay. You're back after Anzac Day?
No, I go back to work on the day before Anzac Day for a PD day, then Anzac Day, then the kids are back on the Wednesday.
Okay, that's kind of how I thought it might have gone, but okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so there's not much. I mean, other than games, which we'll get to in a moment, there's not much else sort of that's really caught my eye from a news perspective. So we won't have much of that.
I don't know. There's one kind of big thing, but that kind of happened already like a week ago.
Which is
E3.
Oh no, that's no. I guess.
I mean, that's been in various stages of dead for the last few weeks with the number of publishers and that pulling out.
Yeah, so
they finally just go, you know what? Fuck this.
They've screwed it.
We're out. Fuck it.
We're out. So, anyhow,
you're all out, so fuck you, so are we.
Yeah, that's basically how it was, wasn't it? Yeah. Alright, so, games-wise, what have you been playing? Wait a second.
What just happened?
I have no idea. Let's start this again, because I'm now...
everything for me just faded to black and vanished.
Oh, weird. I didn't think that did what that was going to do. So is that back?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Now I can. That was super weird because...
There's literally a button that says fade to black, which I didn't think was going to do that didn't... that wasn't what I thought it said. It says FTB. It says FTB. Okay, what does that do? I thought that's a transition. But it's not. It's obviously fade to black. Okay.
It faded you to black, and I'm sitting here going, what the fuck? What just happened? Do
you want to start again?
I'm really confused. Let's keep going. Awkwardness is always one of our
things. Yeah,
milestones.
Yeah, it's true.
Let's keep going with awkwardness. What? Jesus Christ. That's a good way to fuck with me, though.
But I don't reckon anyone else would have seen what you were saying.
No one would have seen what I saw. Everything just straight faded to black. I heard nothing from you. And I'm just like, wait, has it disconnected? What am I doing? I was like, I'm not going to leave the call just yet. So...
All right. Note to self. Don't press fade to black button anymore.
Yeah, good call. Well,
so on that note,
Fade to Black's a decent episode title so far.
Yeah. What have you been playing?
Let's make note of that. Let's start with. I'm the only one who has got games that I was still playing.
Yes, you do.
But of all of those still playing games, I've actually done with them now.
Oh, okay. So you've actually finished with them.
Yeah. So I finished Blacktail, which was the first-person sort of adventure game that told the origin story of Baba Yaga. The witch version, not the John Wick version, the boogeyman thing.
Mm-hmm.
The last section wasn't particularly great because it was very much funneled and very linear compared to the rest of the game, which was very open and more exploration heavy.
Mm-hmm.
I got through it though. The voice cast was great, and I didn't realize this, but Nurgle, the vocalist from the band Behemoth, was one of the characters.
Okay.
And he just had this real great, deep European, just, the cat says hello. I'm like, whoa. I didn't realize it until I saw the credits. I'm like, yo! But yeah, that game was good. I don't know if it would have cracked the top 10 for me if I had played it last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I still enjoyed what I played of it. What the golf... I hit... Now, I've already played some car-based levels. But I got to some other ones that were weirdly precise in a way that the game doesn't really cope very well with.
Mm-hmm.
So I just ended up bailing on it
Okay.
because it just wasn't fun. It like I could have bashed my head against it, figured it out, but I just wasn't enjoying that section. So I was like, "Fuck it. What's the point in like trying to bash my head against this shit and just go yay?" So I'm like, "Nope," and that's now been uninstalled. Good old Forza Horizon 5, that rally stuff hit. And I played through all of it in about 10 hours across 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very much the way I do things with the Forza Horizon game. The map was rather small comparatively to even like something like Fortune Island. The map was really quite small. I only had like 32 roads to discover.
Okay, yeah, that's
and
quite small. Yeah.
Some of the roads were fairly long,
Mm.
but it was still pretty small. The rally stuff, the rally actual events were fun.
Mm.
And I mean, I went through and did damn near everything I could. But turns out, wasn't exactly the cleanest on launch because, number one, had some awesome frame rate shits when I was in the sand dunes section.
You mentioned that,
on
yeah.
a 4090. Yeah, normally it runs 120 frames a second for me.
Mm-hmm.
I hit the sand dunes, it dipped below 30.
Mm.
And that happened during a race. So that was really painful to finish that race.
Okay, imagine.
And then some of the destructible objects
Has that been fixed, or is it still a thing?
I don't know.
Okay.
I've stopped playing it because
okay.
there was also one other issue with all the destructible, like some of the destructible objects, like the different like bonus boards. You drove straight through them.
Oh, okay, they didn't actually destruct. Okay.
You clipped through them, so they weren't actually destructible. You just go meow, and you just clip through them. It's like, what the fuck?
Do they still count
So
though?
I did. No.
Okay, really? Oh, that. Oh, okay.
It almost like it wasn't there.
Wasn't there? Oh, weird. Okay, there's no, yeah. Okay.
So I'm just like, fuck this.
Yep.
I got a feeling that's basically it for Forza Horizon 5. It'd be unprecedented for them to do a third DLC.
Yeah. What was? Yeah.
And then that because they had the Hot Wheels Island as the first DLC.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And that was better than the last Hot Wheels Island. But, meh.
Yeah. I think the problem with that.
I kind of miss.
I think the problem with DLC for that game specifically is it's just more of the same, so you can't really, other than setting it other than putting in a new environment like stuff, which is kind of what they sort of did with what you're describing. They can't really change the modes, like the game, that much from DLC to DLC. No. So I think just if you like the base game, you're probably gonna like the DLC. If you're falling off the base game, you're probably not gonna get the DLC for the exact same reason. So.
I don't know. I put like 260 hours in the Forza Horizon 5 total, so I'm pretty sure
that's what I mean. Like you're gonna. I didn't get the DLC because I just hardly played the main game. So.
I feel like the DLC for 4 was a lot better.
Well, what you've described, it certainly
Fortune
sounds
Island.
What you've described, it certainly does sound better.
Fortune Island was a much bigger environment and had that elements of rally stuff without putting a co-driver going easy right, easy left. But it just had more to explore and all that sort of deal. And the Lego stuff, for as much as it was like, hey, it's pretty blatantly Lego, it was still a big open environment that you had that discovery element of. Now, it's not like the Hot Wheels DLC didn't have that. It definitely, at least the second time around, because the first Hot Wheels DLC for 3 was kind of shit. But yeah, I don't know. It could have been a lot better. And I finished off Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Kicking It Old School has at least completed for that specific game. The last episode was just over 2 hours. At least an hour of that was the last boss, fighting Triller for reals. That was an annoying fight. To the point where I said a very naughty word.
I can't even remember what the fight is. I just remember it's a boss fight. So yeah.
It was the Sears former Padawan who fell to the dark side.
Oh no, I remember the character. I just don't remember the boss battle at all. So
yeah, it was fucked. But it was a shame. Like Darth Vader comes out and there's no redemption arc for Trilla. He just cuts her in the back and she just dies. I was like, oh, that's a bit of a shame. So I'm done with Fallen Order now as well. I've got the next game for Kicking Old School lined up, which is going to be Warhammer 40k Space Marine. Because that sequel's coming out this year too. And that's a 10-plus-year-old game. But yeah, that's the stuff I had been playing. So let's go to the new stuff I've been playing, a lot of which I've either finished or I'm not going to continue with. So Have a Nice Death is a beautifully drawn, beautifully animated roguelike, sort of action roguelike in the Dead Cells sort of school. And much like You're a Gun, which is a dual joystick roguelike, the repetition on both of those just ends up, like, because it's a roguelike, when you die, you go back to the start, and it's, hey, do this shit again, fucker. And I'm like, that repetition, certainly not holding up anymore. So I kind of moved on. I didn't spend that much time with Have a Nice Death. I spent even less time with You're a Gun. Well, You're a Gun's a really great name too, and like it had a great premise in its early access, but for some reason during early access, they decided to take what was just a top-down dual joystick shooter and make it a roguelike.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
And
okay.
It wasn't intended to be that. So when they made that choice, I'm like, no. So yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Anyway. Yeah, a bit of a shame that. But you know, these things happen. Choices get made. Game development's hard. I'll leave Tchia till the end, seeing as we both played that. Sega put out an April Fool's joke as a visual novel murder mystery by the name of The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog. And my understanding is that they basically said, the fans have been asking for it for years, so we finally did it. We finally killed him. I was like, wait, what?
What?
Yeah. It has some really great art. As a game, it's way better than it has any right to be. It's largely sort of, like I said, a visual novel murder mystery. But when you put together, like, you go, you're a completely original character that's not part of the Sonic environment.
Okay. Yeah.
To the point where it doesn't have a name. So I so very classily called it Your Mum. Because I'm a genius. And when you're putting together and logicking out the clues and stuff, it takes you to an isometric Sonic the Hedgehog level.
Oh, okay.
Where you collect rings and avoid traps.
I'm just looking at the screenshots on Steam, and yeah, I saw that screenshot. Okay, look, it's like you're on a little 3-grid wide track, and you sort of got spikes, and you got rings, and it's got like a counter going up. So what how does that? I'm really intrigued now how that works in terms of
you hit a certain number of rings, and then your character's like, I've got it.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yep. Don't ask me how that works.
Okay.
Because I've got no fucking idea.
Okay.
But, again, it's probably better than the last... Oh, shit. I don't know. How many Sonic the Hedgehog games since going back to maybe the Mega Drive?
Yeah, okay.
It's... Yeah. The art's really cool. I really like the art on it. The music's pretty repetitive, though, because, I mean, like... I can't believe that the development team behind this convinced Sega to actually put this out and do this.
Yeah, it's obviously part of the studio because the developer is just Sega, so it's not as if it's like a third-party sort of company that got in to do it. Sega did it, so obviously some part of the studio put it together. Or, as you said, proposed it and got it greenlit, and here we are. So
yeah, and it's just one of those. Another one. Like, I think April Fool's Day now is just becoming, hey, we've got this real great dumb idea, and guess what? It's real.
Yeah.
Because Asus did the same thing. They were like, hey, we've got a Steam Deck competitor. And everyone's like, no, you fucking don't.
Yeah.
And turns out, yes, they fucking do.
And it's all accounts, pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's like substantially powerful than the Steam Deck and all that sort of deal. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very, very ROG on that, very ROG on that front, but you know.
Yeah.
FIFA 23 was on sale on Steam, and I think it still is for another couple of days for $30. So I went into the EA app, and forgetting that obviously having EA, what's it? Not EA Access. It used to be EA Access. What's it called now?
What's it called now? Yeah, no, whatever.
EA Play.
EA Play? Yeah.
I think it's EA Play. There was obviously a 10-hour trial for FIFA 23, so I thought I'm going to give this a go. And the sort of in between game cinematics now run at full speed, full frame rate, which is great. But the main thing I do with FIFA games is do the player career and then eventually maybe do the management career. Did the player career, and then as I advance, so like there's a bar under the manager's name where each segment is a placement on the team. So for the Socceroos, I was up front, starting 11. Bang, Graham Arnold loved me. For the Perth Glory, I couldn't get a start because Ruben Zadkovic didn't like me at all. And I don't know, as I'd skip days, and I'm assuming it's because I'm skipping days and not doing any training activities. So I was like, I'm scoring 10 goals in 3 games, and you're still barely subbing me on in the last 10 minutes. Go fuck yourself. I walked on one game against, I think, Brisbane Roar. The Glory were 1-0 up. By the end of the game, they were 7-0 up. And it's like, nah, not starting you. I was like, go fuck yourself. I wish that the club and the international performance would marry over and have some sort of impact on your career progression. Where the manager for the Glory would be like, okay, you scored a hat-trick for Australia against Ghana, and then you scored a hat-trick for Australia against New Zealand. Okay, you're starting now. But nope. Just had me coming off the bench. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. And I stopped playing. And because I don't like putting those games up to pro, because it doesn't make the game any harder. It just changes the percentage on how many goals you score. I'm just like, nah, fuck this. I'm just going to dominate and then walk away. And then EA Sports PGA Tour came out last week. Which, try finding that game in a games database, because you type EA Sports PGA Tour and you get all of them because that's all they decided to call it. Yeah,
the most generic name they could come up with.
So I did the 10-hour trial of that.
Is that thing is also, that trial price is also on PC, is it? It must be. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I thought that was just an Xbox, console thing. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so did I. I actually didn't think it was, but when you download games that are on Game Pass that are EA Play games as well, it goes into the EA Play app to actually launch them.
Okay.
So I just loaded it up and I was like, I'm going to give this a go, and it worked. So, So EA Sports PGA Tour, number one, looks great. Very pretty. Nice, pretty golf game. I mean, one could argue, is it that hard in a modern age to make a golf game pretty? Probably not. But they do it, and they do it quite well. The actual hitting of the ball, though, is really frustrating because there's it's not like it used to be where it's just as soon as you pull back, the club starts going. They've put animation priority on it, so you pull back, and it takes a moment for the club to start coming back.
Oh, okay.
And there's the meter's actually in a swing plane behind your golfer, so you have to then hit up at the right point for the club to come back down.
Oh, okay, yep.
And it felt like no matter what I did, I was there only ever getting slow club speed. Doesn't matter how hard I'd be jamming up when I get to the right point. So it didn't feel particularly natural because of that weird sort of delay or that weird sort of animation priority on it. And I was just hitting the ball like shit.
Okay.
I barely got a par on my first, parred from the sand in my first hole. Got a bogey on my second hole. Then third hole in one. I was like, what the fuck? So I played through a full round. I don't think I even finished the round. I think I was just like, you know what? Fuck this. And I bailed. So, yeah, fuck that. And then I started Dredge on Sunday and proceeded to play it for 4 hours straight. So Dredge is the old Eldritch horror fishing game, where during the day you just fish, you're putting along, fishing, doing stuff, getting things for your boat. But then when it's nighttime, a whole bunch of nightmarish shit starts happening, and your boat dude starts getting all stressed out if things start happening, and then weird infections start jumping onto the boat and infecting the fish if you're out at sea too long, and all sorts of weird shit. But certain fish only come out at night too. So it's this weird push-pull, and there's a really well-written story underneath everything. And I don't know why. I hate fishing in real life, but I just really enjoyed just like putting around on this boat.
Yeah, well,
getting all the fish from a certain area.
I'm not too sure how you can really compare real fishing to fishing in a game, but
you can't. But still,
I hate fishing too, but then it's not going to stop me from doing a mini game in a fish mini game.
Yeah, the fish mini game is really easy. That's why it's great. It's like 3 button presses and you got the fish on board.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got a really great look to it. It's really well written. The actual moment-to-moment loop of I'm going to go get some fish, sell it off. Oh shit, there's this big fuck-off weird alien-looking fish underwater that's not happy with me trying to dredge up this item. Oh shit, he's hit my boat. Oh shit, I've sunk the boat. Oh man, reload. So far, I go to this collector dude and he's like, I want some items. Go fucking get them. So I went to get one of them. After a few hours, got that one by progressing another side story, and now I'm off to the next little island to do the same thing for a different item.
I'm planning to get this game. It looks really, really cool. A lot of stuff I like about the look of it, everything about it. So yeah,
I don't know how well I'm selling it, but
yeah. I've seen other reviews of it that were. Like obviously with visuals, it makes a big difference with what this game actually looks like as well. Is a big component to it. So, yeah, I don't think it's particularly long either from what I've been read about it, but doesn't need to be long at the moment. So
no,
yeah.
It's about 17. Like how long to beat has it at about 17 hours for the main story. So it's got a little bit of meat to the bone. It is great though. Sometimes you'll just be fishing and you get this weird fucked up version of a fish that you go and sell. Like a weird infected fish or not infected, just like, hey, here's a fish that's got bones instead of scales. What? Yep. Okay, go sell that. Yeah, it was seeing the Nextlander video when they played through Summer Dredge. That was what got me that's what really convinced me to actually get it. Because the positivity of the reviews are like, okay, this is on the radar. And then I needed to see some video of it being played, and I did. And I'm like, okay, that's it. Let's get it.
Yeah, I saw a little. Who did it? Destructoid? No. I think I saw what was it's called the 3-minute review, and I saw a bunch of them on a row, and then there's this one for Dredge come up, and it's I can now know what that game's actually kind of sort of about in this really short snippet of a review. And that guy, the review was quite glowing about it. He said, "Look, this is really, really cool." So yeah, it was a neat sell, basically, that 3-minute video.
So there's that. That's one of the few things recently that really has grabbed my attention for any more than a couple of hours at a time. Because I'm just looking at my list, and all it is just like big 20, 30, 40 hour plus 100-hour games, and I'm just like, oh, I don't want to do that, but I want to play something. I reinstalled that fucking poker game and played like 8 hours of that. Some idiot. I've watched a couple things as well, but I'll get to them a bit later. But we both played Tchia. Now, how much Tchia have you played?
That's a good question. Probably a couple of hours only, I'd say. I've left the main, I've left the starter island, which is obviously really small.
Uma.
I've left the little sort of floating port thingamabob. I've left that. I've gone to
Trey's little thing. Yeah.
Trey's little thing. I've left that place. I've left the big first island after you finish. Was something starting with A? I'm going to find a
I
place.
can't remember the name of the big first island.
And I'm looking for. I'm trying to. I'm on the. It's the line where you got two. You got to get. God, what are you trying to do? I'm trying to get all of the things together to meet with the person on the first big island.
Yep.
So there's you go to another island and there's two things you got to get there. I think I've already you got to get a bunch of these little trinket thingies.
Yep.
A dead chicken, which I think there's probably more to that than just that. What the other thing was? Yeah,
there is, and that.
So I've got to get that and something else, which is like I can't remember what it was now. So I'm just doing that first part
It's
of
like
that.
pearls, the dead chicken.
Yeah, and there's like
some other bits and pieces.
Eggs, and yeah, there's like half a dozen little things you got to do. So before we even go any further, the game is based on New Caledonia, sort of culture, and I really like it. I like the setting. I like the setting. I'm not 100% sure I like the game yet, if I'm honest, because I didn't know it was like it's an open world game in essence, but it's got an awful lot of shit you can do that is just staggering the amount of things you can like. The collectible stuff is really, really massive. So like there's like it's also a lot of it's not particularly clear what you get from doing certain things. So you've got in the opening part of the game you get a glider.
Yep.
Which allows you to, as it implies, glide around the map. That takes stamina to use, which starts off at a sort of about 17, 18 stamina, and you can have these fruits which make it go up. But there's nothing that's indicated by how much it goes up by until you go and use it next time. The number's gone from 22 to 23 or whatever it's done.
Yeah.
But it's like they're doing an open world game without any of the stat tracking stuff you normally have with an open world game like that. So you've no idea
what. Breath of the Wild.
Oh, it's very. Yeah. When I started playing it. Not that I played Breath of the Wild a lot, but I sort of I was thinking this is along the lines of an Assassin's Creed game. Actually, no, it's not. It's more Breath of the Wild game because it's got way more flexibility in what you do and how you do it. There's got a lot of stuff you can do. Like there's collectibles up the wazoo to get. There's race challenges to do. But I just don't know at this stage what's the point in doing them. So, and I'm not too sure that the game even tells you there's anything. Like as I said, there's little race things you can do. I did one of them, got a silver trophy. Okay, what did that do other than ticking a box off?
So you actually need a trophy to go meet with that.
Yeah, which I got the trophy, so I've got that. But if you're outside of it, for that particular sort of quest line, what's the benefit in doing those things? And I don't think the game doesn't seem to imply there is any. Yeah, that's the thing.
It's fuck all.
Yeah. There's also these little...
The pearls and the trinkets do come in as currency for cosmetic shit.
Yeah, and also you've got to give... They do these offerings, like when you meet somebody from in another village or a tribe, you do a kutum thing, which is like essentially an offering, and you give them, you offer, goods and not services, but goods. And the ones I've done so far have all been required pearls for that, which is great. You go out in your little boat, you jump off the boat, do some diving, get the pearl. It's all pretty simple. Go back, do that thing, and away you go. But beyond that, that's the thing that's sort of going, making me just double guess. Why am I doing some of this stuff? If there's a purpose for it, then great, I'll do it. But if it's not, then I'll probably just mainline the game and just mainline the story and go through it. Because I don't think there's any other.
You do it because there's an icon on the map.
Yeah, but there's 180 of the fucking things. That's just there's an.
I did it all.
Well, you're an idiot then, because there's no point doing it all.
I sure am. I don't know. There was just a real chill factor of put a pin on where the pearls or the trinkets are, explore, climb up, get it. Okay, next one. It was just that chill, collected sort of collectathon.
Yeah, but at least in other games you've got a benefit for doing that. In most other games where you're collecting stuff like that, well, this one doesn't seem to have any of that. Like, there's no purpose. Like, if you're doing those races and it got you a stat bonus on something, yeah, great. There's a reason to do it. No. But I just
it's just literally because it's on the map.
Yeah, and that's not a.
The rock stacking has a purpose.
Yeah, which is a really interesting mechanic. That rock stacking sort of stuff. The other one that was curious, and I'm not sure, maybe again it doesn't have anything. You can do this. So the other thing you can do in the game is you can, I don't know if it gets any further than this, and you've now finished it, you can sort of like prey style possess items in the world. And there's one where you're doing that and you're burning these like campsite things, which have got like little like mystical things running
Fabric
around.
soldiers and
sort of stuff. Again, I did one of them. I don't know if I got anything out of it other than ticking a box on a map, but I don't know if that did anything in terms of, did it make that ability better? I don't think it did. As I said, like
on the second island, you actually under some of the fabric piles, there's actually big stamina fruits.
Oh, okay.
So you actually can get your stamina to like 120, 125.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's that's probably the only thing I would do is get those stamina fruits, because that's a tangible benefit to why that's what I can do with it. But the other stuff,
the pearls and the trinkets are literally just linked to achievements and being able to open or purchase presents that have cosmetic shit in them.
Yeah. There's no. That's why I said it was sort of when I started playing. I said, okay, I've just done that thing. What do I get out of it? Okay, nothing, it would seem. So, and the only thing you actually do get an increase is that stamina. But again, you don't.
A little bit later in the game, you get an increase in the possession energy as well.
Oh, okay.
There's like little. It again very Breath of the Wild. You get temples that you can go into that have various challenges.
Yep.
Where you eat a soul fruit and you get more of the possession energy.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like the very last of the camps, the fabric soldiers camps, or the last couple, because of how many the very last one took me a fucking hour or two to finish, because it's got like 35 of the fabric soldiers.
Okay.
And it's such a big area that you're like playing needle in a haystack. So I just kept summoning birds and flying around till I found them, which again took me like a good hour to 2 hours. If the exploration and the collecting stuff isn't really what you're into, it's more about being in the environment, doing the story and all that sort of deal. There's some fucking dark turns in that thing.
Oh, I can imagine, based on the game so far. Like, as I said, I've only played a couple of hours, but the opening, which actually I must admit, when I started playing, I thought, oh, this is great. There's going to be sort of a not a low level, but a
low stakes, sort of.
Yeah, low stakes, like not even low stakes, but that definitely what I thought. But like based on the game being set in, like the opening game, you're on an island that looks like it's out the middle of nowhere, kind of. That's the impression you get from what you're playing. You've got sort of local tribe sort of integration. Then out of nowhere, a fucking helicopter lands and takes your father away. What the fuck?
Yep.
It wasn't expecting.
Tchia finds out she can inhabit items by inhabiting a fucking machete and cutting that motherfucker's face.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck him.
So the opening games, like the opening part of the game, you go, okay, this is not what I thought this was going to be. Like I thought this would literally kind of be like an open world puzzle game, not to the level that it is, but it wouldn't have any. It'd still be set in not a modern time. I didn't expect to then go to a city that's got sky rises, and I just didn't think that was going to be the setting they were going to put it in. I thought it was going to be a sort of an older set game that wasn't so modern in terms of its setting, in terms of its age.
And that's what that other island is. It's basically just very village heavy.
Like
that.
Yeah, and I think the setting, the game looks amazing. It really does look like some of the stuff you can do when you're on your boat, and you got the sort of sunlight behind you setting. It's just an amazing looking game when it does that. The music's pretty damn good. All the voice acting is in the native language of that time, or of that. So
French and the language of New Caledonia, which is like a 5-letter word starting with D off the top of my head.
Like Dreadju or something, I think, or something like that. And all that, and all native speakers. So it's spoken in that with subtitles. So there's no dubbing, which is really, really good. I think a really interesting touch.
Kanak.
Sorry?
Kanak. Oh no, sorry, Drehu. Drehu is the indigenous language.
Yeah. So it's all in that language. And yeah, it's just the setting's what's driving me so far. I just don't know if the moment-to-moment gameplay is doing anything for me. But if, as you say, if there's no real need to do all of that other stuff other than it's on the map, then I'll probably just go through the story in a relatively linear fashion, I think.
You could clip that story probably in about 5 to 6 hours. If it took me about 10 to 12.
Yeah.
And it was really cool, like coming home from work and just going, right, I'm going to play Tchia for a couple hours. I'm barely going to progress the story. I'm just going around, getting all the pearls, getting the trinkets, fucking up these fabric soldiers, and getting And it was just that chill sort of real chill collecting experience that was really quite interesting and had that Breath of the Wild vibe. Breath of the Wild just doesn't have the sheer volume of collectibles that Tchia does.
Yeah. I think that's probably the thing that so it's got the same mechanic of going to High Point and revealing map icons. So it's got a lot of stuff.
That's where the Assassin's... I didn't think of that as an Assassin's Creed comparison, but yeah, definitely that's an Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, like you go to this thing and do a sort of a call to the... I think it's just called shout, I think, in the game, but it's like you're shouting out a native word to... And then the map opens up and ding, 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 things open, pings appear on the map sort of thing. So it's got a lot of stuff that's... Yeah, like it's taking a lot of interest, a lot of inspiration from multiple game types. At the moment, that's not what I'm enjoying about the game. Is not that moment to moment, or not the moment to moment stuff, but those side stuff is just. Yeah, I'll probably, if I'm going from A to B and there's 6 on the way, then I'll do them. But I'm not going to go out of my way to do them. I think is where I'm at with at the moment. And except maybe the stamina fruits to get more stamina, maybe I'll do more of those. But
the stamina fruits are worth it, if you're more intending to do a lot more of the climbing and the exploring and swimming underwater. If you're not really planning on doing as much of that, it's less worth it.
Yeah, for sure. But no,
I really enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite things I've played this year.
Oh yeah, I'm not if I'm not enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I just don't think I'd play it to the same level that you played it to. That's probably the only thing. In terms of that, I'm enjoying it a lot, a really lot. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be a tick every item, tick every bottom, every item in every box kind of on every map kind of icon thing. I just don't think I'm going to play it to that level. But to play to the story, yeah, for sure, is definitely on the cards. So no,
the elements of rhythm music game.
Yeah,
in there
rhythm
as
stuff
well,
in it. Yeah, which is really good. They actually,
which you can choose not to play,
which is great
because autoplay it.
Because that's what I want to do. Because I want to listen. I want to read the lyrics. And I couldn't. I couldn't play. I couldn't play it and watch the lyrics at the same time. So
no.
So I just need to get this autoplay because I just want to listen to the music. Because I think the music is really good, but I can't do like those sort of 2 things at once. I can't look in the bottom right and look at the thing in the order, and then listen to the.
I wasn't even seeing the lyrics. I was just letting the music go over and just playing along. I turned my ukulele into a flying V. It's like the most metal ukulele ever.
Yeah, so it's got a lot of things going for it. For me, I don't need all that other stuff. All that, open world stuff, I don't need it all to that extent. So, but yeah, no, I'm really digging it for sure. The rest of my stuff is Figment is the game before Figment Valley 2, the game we mentioned a couple of weeks back.
I was wondering which Figment this was.
So that's the first one. I thought I'd played it, but I played a little bit, I hadn't finished it. So I went back and started playing it before I went back into the second one. So that's the only reason why it's there. I had played it for I think in Steam it said I played it for 27 minutes or something. Whenever I first played it. So now put in a couple of hours into it, and so yeah, really, really digging that game. It's a really interesting game. A lot of very interesting story perspective, and a lot of it's all about death and loss and kind of stuff like that in terms of the effect on the psyche that can have. So it's interesting sort of concept to that game. And
I remember having to look a lot of stuff up for that game when I played through it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
At least off the top of my head anyway, just some of the puzzle solutions and some of the other stuff, I was just I'm not smart enough for this.
Yeah, Anno 2005 is, not surprisingly, it's the Anno series game that actually starts in 2005, so A lot of the same things we saw in the Anno 1800 video and the same gameplay from that. Not quite to the same extent, but very similar. So, just playing through that because it's just different basically at the moment from what else I'm playing. Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom, that came out on Game Pass like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. I didn't realise it was out yet. I knew it was on its way because they announced a couple of months back, it might have even Tokyo Game Show last year, they announced that the Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch, I think was the first one, was out that day or out that week or whatever, and that this game is coming out in 2023. I didn't really like the first one that much. I liked a lot about it, but I just did not like the gameplay at all. Whereas the second one was completely sort of not the first one was all turn-based, and I just didn't like it that much. Whereas this one's much more action-orientated. So I'm playing through it again, not because of any particular. It's just it was the. I saw it on the dashboard. It was there. I saw it on the dashboard. Thought, okay, this is. I'll download this again. It's actually got DLC that I never played, which is something I'll go through. I didn't actually realise I'd released DLC for it, so it was news to me. This game is from 2018-19, so it's 4 or 5 years old now. And I've put probably a dozen hours into it so far, and it's going to be like you're saying, what you were describing with Tchia, coming home, playing for a couple of hours, mindlessly doing the map stuff. That's what this game is going to be for me. I put nearly 100 hours into that game on PC originally. And if I get 100 hours out of it this time, I'll be really glad because it's just the game I need right now for where I'm at with a bunch of stuff. So it's just a game. It's just a point in time game. That's all. So I'm doing that as well. Playing through that as well. It plays really well on Xbox. I mean, it doesn't have any issues in terms of stuff like that. I really do kind of hope they do a third game in that series, but we'll see.
Is there one planned or announced?
I don't think so. I don't believe there's one announced for it. They do a lot of other. They do other. There are games in the series, but not necessarily a sequel to that game. If that makes. So yeah, I would like them to do it.
All but confirmed. Yeah, okay. If it was all but confirmed, it would be confirmed. You fuckheads.
Yeah, so there probably is going to be an actual sequel to that particular. There are other games in the series, but they're not sequels to that game. They're like iOS games and stuff like that, and you just go, not really what I'm after. So yeah, hopefully there's another one coming, but yeah, nothing's been announced I'm aware of. And that's it for me.
What?
Not playing a real lot other than some of that. The one game is missing from, well, not missing from one game I haven't talked about is Satisfactory. They've announced an update 8 for that game, which is coming soon-ish, I think. Well, I'm not sure if they've got a date for it yet. The big change from that is they are moving to the Unreal Engine 5, which is a pretty big change.
Ooh, I'm very curious how that's going to run.
So, they're going to take advantage of a couple of the technology that's inside the Unreal Engine 5. That's probably at this stage I'm going to hold off until that's out and jump back into it. They're doing some world map changes which may or may not affect my factory, so that's the other thing. I'll sort of hold off until that's out in experimental, which I imagine will probably be there for a while because it's going to be Unreal Engine 5, so I suspect there's going to be quite a few issues with that game in experimental.
Probably take a lot
of time to get all the issues sorted out with it.
Optimization and things like that.
Yeah, and getting all the other thing that happens every time an update comes out is all the mods break, which is not surprising.
Nope.
So I've got to wait till that all gets fixed. Something I'll probably hold off doing my Solar Factory until that's actually out in experimental, and I can at least look at what they're changing from a world perspective. Because the last one, update 7, update 6, update 7, one of the two, update 7 I think it was, made a massive change to one area of the map, and basically consumed my factory basically to beat into the walls and the mountains that they put there instead. So,
oh shit!
They have a habit of they give you heaps of warnings, so you can go into experiment and see what's going to change. You go, oh shit!
Okay.
So that's the event. So, and then you go, okay, I need to move that entire factory out or dismantle it or something and rebuild it when the map comes back. So that's pretty much what I did. So there's talk about doing a map change in the area where I've got my massive nuclear generation plant. So I'm hoping it's not to the extent that they did the last one, because if they made a big change there, I'm fucked. Basically, I've got to
ruptures the plant. Fukushima 2.
I've basically got 48 nuclear generators sitting there. So I hope they haven't done.
Man, that's a Chernobyl-esque.
Yeah, it's just. So hopefully they haven't done anything really bad to that thing that'll make me have to redo that area. But
what about ye old Terra Nil?
I basically did a bit more of the other maps, but I mean, essentially that game's done. They are.
Yeah.
In terms of I'll probably go back to it and play through the alternative maps in each region to get up to 100% in each region. Got it basically to 70% in each region.
Because you'd run credits on that before.
Yeah, like you basically once you've done there's only 4 regions in the game so far. And if you play through it once in each of those regions and complete it, the maximum percentage you can do in that region is 70%. So that's basically finding all the animals in each area, doing the optional climate goals in each area, and finding all the biomes in each area. Like that's essentially what you're doing in each of those zones. And if you do that in all 4 of them, you get each one up to maximum 70. That's it. That's as far as you can go. Once you've done those 4, you then roll credits on the game, quote unquote. You then go back into those regions and essentially replay an alternative map of them. And once you do that, I assume that region will then go to 100%. And repeat that 3 times for the other 3 regions, and the game's basically done. They have talked about that now that's been released, they're going to take a bit of a break, which is obviously well deserved. And then they're going to put out more content, which I assume will mean more regions. I assume.
Yep.
So I'm guessing there's going to be more content coming down the pike from those guys now that they've had a chance to put the game out and get out into the world, because it's I love that game a lot. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
But at the moment, there's just not a lot of replayability in the game. So, which is not necessarily negative per se. It's just that's what the game is. So putting some more regions to do, that would be really good. So, yeah. That's basically it, really, from my perspective. So, should we go on to the beginning and end and
couple of viewings real quick?
No, let's go into the beginning and the end.
All right, cool.
That was really odd. Okay.
Yeah, no, it keeps cutting out. It's like, no.
So,
beginning of the end for you.
Much listeners or much watchers or whatever's.
So I have watched 2 things. In addition to just the usual bullshit. There was a new DC Batman animated movie called The Doom That Came to Gotham.
Oh, yeah.
So I grabbed that. It was $20 on Blu-ray. So it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they turned Oliver Queen, who's the Green Arrow, into a drunk, and Talia al Ghul into a 900-year-old demon summoner.
Oh, okay.
So this is an adaptation of a 3 or 4 part Batman comic book that I haven't read.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first time I'm watching one of these, and I haven't read the book. So it's like, I don't know what changes they've made, and can't get pissed off at them.
Yep.
It's a much more supernatural take on Batman, set during Prohibition, the Great Depression.
Mm-hmm.
Batman essentially has 3 Robins, and boy howdy, the two of them do not meet very good ends. They meet some pretty horrible ends, all things considered. It gets really, really weird by the end. Like, I don't want to spoil anything, but the foreshadowing early on is just, this is fine, but this wouldn't crack my top 10 of Batman animated movies.
Okay. Yep.
And I like a lot of those Batman animated movies, so yeah. The bigger one, though, John motherfucking Wick 4. That movie's incredible. I don't mean to shock you or anything, but that movie's good. Like, I laugh probably every couple of minutes at some of the, like, just the ridiculousness of some of the, like, set-piece kills that come up. It's just fucking incredible. Just all the shit that happens, and, like, they get a bunch of, like, they just amplify everything to a point where it's like, a couple of little unpredictable story events that happen Could there be a John Wick 5? Who can say?
I think they've already said they're working on it, haven't they? Pretty sure they've already said they.
Well, they were filming 4 and 5 back to back, and then the pandemic happened. So they ended up putting 4 out on its own. I don't think they've done any work for 5, and narratively, put it this way, they would have to pull some shit for John Wick 5 to happen.
Okay. So then they'll do it. Because it makes shitloads of money. Why would they not do it?
Absolutely. It makes bank. It opened number 1 in the box office in America, I think, with like 80 million its first weekend. The Super Mario Brothers movie is obviously taken over that, because of course it did. But yeah, John Wick 4, that movie is fucking great. I still don't think it's better than the first one, though. That first one sets such a high bar.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
That first one's still incredible. And there was before, as we were going in, me and my mate, we were like, what do you reckon the trailer's going to be? I'm like, Fast X, guaranteed. First trailer, Fast X. Boom. Called it. I'm super looking forward to that. That's going to be so good, that movie. Anyway. And no must listens, because I haven't listened to anything really new or listened to anything enough yet to qualify as being a must listen at this stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any news caught your eye? Because nothing caught my eye in the last couple of weeks. So.
No. We've already talked about the only big event.
So
really.
E3 being actually cancelled. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really quite funny going back and forth on Slack, where it's like, well, confirmed, Nintendo out, Microsoft out, Sony's already been out.
Yeah.
And then Ubisoft out, despite the fact they said they were going to stay.
Then I think
and then Sega and Tencent, fuck this.
Yeah, and I think I said at some point, who's left? And I think the mission
left.
The mission after that was, and it's cancelled. Oh, okay, that answers that question.
How funny is it, though, that it took Sega and Tencent pulling out for them to go, fuck this?
The thing, look, like, they're all doing their own shows now. So and obviously Tchia is still involved. He's doing his thing.
Yep.
So it's just that we've discussed this a lot on the podcast over the last couple of years now. They don't need they don't need E3 anymore. They just don't need that event. They haven't needed it for quite some time. Nintendo showed that because they do all their directs throughout the year. Yeah, you've got, like, the only thing that an E3 did was get everybody from the industry in the same place at the same time, and that's got its advantages. There's no doubt about that. Like, to do that, you can do deals. You can't, you can do stuff. But the actual publishers and developers themselves, they don't need an E3 event to go through to put the game on show, because they can just put a fucking video up on YouTube, advertise out the wazoo on social media beforehand, and they'll get just as many viewers to that as they would if they went to an E3 event. So that's kind of the crux of it now, is they just, E3 as a thing is not actually needed. I still think
it was just more about the time in the year where everyone comes together to show shit, and that's literally.
Yeah, and I think
that's literally all it's become.
Yeah, and that's all it ever was. In reality,
yeah.
At a base level, that's all it was. But with the change of not social media, just technology changing, YouTube becoming what it is, Twitch becoming what it is, even to a degree, they don't need to go to a physical event anymore. They haven't needed to haven't needed to do that for even before Sony stopped coming, before Nintendo stopped, like 5 years ago. They didn't need one of these, because they could just do a stream at any time. So
just go to some poor social media intern and just go, "Hey, you fucker, upload this, press play at this time."
That's basically it. It's a shitload more work than that, but yeah, that's basically it.
Oh, of course, yeah.
I mean, but you can really create the experience from that process. So, and the expense, like, they're still putting on Microsoft is still putting on a live show at their Xbox Theatre, whatever it's called, Microsoft Theatre. At the same time, the E3 they would have done an E3 presentation anyway. So it's not as if they're not doing it. So it's not quite stopping altogether. Whereas Ubisoft's still going to do their showcase, whatever they call it. there was an ID'd Xbox thing a couple of weeks back that I sort of completely missed. But yeah, there's stuff like that they can do out throughout the
Wait,
year.
there was?
Yeah, there was. There's a bunch of stuff announced. I didn't, as I said, it just appeared. I saw a bunch of trailers and stuff on an ID. I don't know how big it was. I don't know how many games were shown out of it. But yeah, I saw an IGN stuff. See to cover it.
Oh yeah, how about that?
Yeah, like it was last week before. Can't remember the exact timing of it. So yeah, like they can do that stuff throughout the year now.
Literally 4 days ago.
Okay, so it was okay, so it's just before Easter. Yeah, so yeah, they can do stuff like that literally any time they want to. They don't need an E3 thing to go through. So it's not surprising that it's died, but I still think having something like that event to have people to go to is good. I just don't think the ESA is, or now it's not really ESA, it's now actually ReedPop running it. Yeah.
Apparently ReedPop is fucking pissed.
I reckon they would be, because they've now bought a basically dud friggin' IP essentially.
Yeah.
But the problem is they're, like them as an organisation is probably they've almost kind of screwed themselves in a weird way, because they've made PAXO really good. Like they run
what a modern day E3 was and could be, where it started off as a trade show. It's like, hey, you motherfuckers who sell games, come and look at what we've got. And then the press is there because, of course, the press is there. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, PAX is a thing. PAX makes bank. The ESA is like, we need to do that. It's like, no, you really don't need to do that.
No, you don't. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's not what. Like, and you look at what the ESA has actively achieved recently, like the last few years. It's been fuck all.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just like, what is the purpose of the ESA anymore? Does that go under at some point? It won't. But like, trying to Paxify E3 was one of the dumbest fucking decisions they could have made.
Yep.
Because that's not what that show ever was.
Yeah, it's also not necessarily what the publishing developers want to spend time manning booths now for the next 2 days, or however long the public thing was going to be for. So
all it was a press and trade event.
Yeah, that's all they do.
And there were people who'd be like, I'd be sitting there going, man, I'd love to go to play some of these games early. But then you hear about the workload involved and all that sort of stuff. And it's like, one of the things that you hear the most about, obviously, is like developer workloads and all that sort of stuff over time. The fucking press workload for E3s in years past, listening to some of the things that have been coming out on podcasts about that workload and what's involved.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, like having to crunch for friggin' to put out a story, or having to crunch to put out a friggin' demo for just no, not
like having to do all the write-ups and have it be completely personality free.
Yeah.
The concept of do more with less. Fuck you. Like,
yeah.
Like the talkovers are such a much better evolution of E3 coverage. Like that has been
that's like, but
borderline revolutionary.
Yeah, but you don't even need, as I said, you don't need an E3. They can just say, oh, next week Microsoft are doing this. Oh, we'll do a talkover. We don't know when
we could fucking do it.
Yeah, we could do one. Yeah, not that they're too early in the morning, but we could possibly do one. Yeah, but yeah, like that's the thing. Like, yeah, E3 as a thing just wasn't needed anymore. That was really the difference. And
at least the way it was structured.
The way it was structured,
and how you changed the structure of it to make it worthwhile. It's an impossible ask, because there already is PAX. So why would you do another one of those so close between PAX East and West?
Yeah.
And what the actual aims of E3 are, fuck that, you don't need to do that either.
Yeah. Yeah,
all it is now is just the commonly agreed upon time where everyone in the games industry comes together.
Yeah,
and even then, that's starting to get wide. That window's getting wider and
absolutely.
wider and wider.
Yeah. So, and that's really why, Keeley's sort of essentially taken over that thing. I'm not a massive fan of Keeley as everybody else seems to be, but I mean, what he's doing, he's bloody exploiting the gap in the market. That's for sure.
I'd be very curious the extent to which he's asking people to pay, or if it's just like, hey, come do it with us. Don't need to pay nothing. Hang out.
I'm understanding some people pay to be on his show.
Oh yeah. I'd be curious if there's an opening night live thing again, stream from him again, like a 2-hour one, like there has been the last couple of years.
I think there will be. It won't be called that because there's nothing to open for, but it'll be his whatever summer games.
Games Fest.
Summer games night, whatever. It'll be that. But again, that'll then run the risk that if he tries to become E3's replacement, then he's now going to become the focus of those development teams getting something ready for his show. And then again, I don't think that's what the developers want anymore. They want to do their own time frame, especially the publishers. Like if you look at like a Ubisoft and EA, they'll just do, okay, we're ready to go at in middle of July because that's when we're ready. We don't care what E3 wants. We don't care what Kia wants. We're ready at that point to show off our games for the next 12 months, whatever. So even then, even having not forcing, but working to someone else's timescale is not what you want as a developer or a software company. So yes, even Keeley
certainly going to be interesting the next couple of years worth of
absolutely just see where it all goes.
E3 time.
Yeah, absolutely. But
certainly makes us trying to do a predictions episode a real fucker.
Oh well, we sort of can't anymore without actually knowing. Like we could do one, but there might be like 6 in a row because there's going to be one every. There might be one every couple of weeks. We'll do one. So yeah. Anyway, we'll figure that out. But no, it's been it's been interesting watching the decline of that event. But yeah. Anyway,
a prediction I was actually right about.
Yes, you were.
Doesn't happen often.
Anything else from you, sir?
Not really. I mean, there's like, nah. I was just thinking about what's sort of coming out this week. Fabledom is out this week, Graham. I think you'll dig that.
Yeah. I played a demo. It wasn't a particularly big thing of it for me.
No, I suppose it because of how close it was in scope and in sort of what it was to Anno. I can see you not. Yeah.
Yeah,
there's only so many ways you can play the same thing over and over.
Yeah, well, that's kind of it, really. I mean, I might get to it at some point, but I probably won't do it at launch. So.
So, what's coming up? So, is there going to be much more sat at Solo Factory, or are you putting a hold on that? And while
I'm putting a hold on that until Update 8's got an actual release into the experimental branch, which then allowed me to sort of drop back and forth between the current early access one and experimental to see what they've made changes to the map, to see if they make any difference to my factory. If they do, then I've got to rebuild ready for Update 8 to go into early access branch. So I'll put on hold until it's out. But at the moment, I'll just keep playing through. Ni no Kuni.
Maybe Anno 2205 can be Solo Factory 2.0.
Nah, I'll just put Solo Factory on hold until a bit, and I'll just do the video stuff that we do on the weekends there.
And I've got Kicking It Old School and Friday Night Fight Night, and still Fridays, and then we'll see. I'll see how things go over the holidays. Maybe I do a bunch of videos. Maybe I do fuck all. I was so talking up like, yo, Dead Space is going to be my holiday game. And I just look at my list of games and I'm just like, I don't want to do none of this. It's just, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's
these things happen sometimes.
It's real life, basically, is what it is.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
Clearly,
Burnout's real, yo. Burnout's real.
Yeah. Burnout.
Burnout remastered.
Burnout on a hobby is actually a thing you can do. You can actually do too much of it and get to the point where you just don't want to do any more of it. So, if you think you're going to get to that point, I just
want Street Fighter 6 to come out.
Yeah, well, I want Diablo 4 to come out, so we're looking for that early June window is what we're really asking. It's not that far away. It's
really not that far away. It's fucking less than 2 months.
It's 2 months.
And if you really want to, we can look at we can quickly go through the games that were in that ID at Xbox showcase. But a lot of them are going to be games.
I've not seen any of them, so don't worry. And we'll do them another time.
Explorator. Old school FPS with a cell shaded visual style. Anyway, I'm going to stop looking at that list. I'm going to look at that myself later.
Yep.
But anyway, I reckon that we could probably fucking call it, eh?
Yep, I think we can. Let's do that. So, thanks everyone for watching the Should I Play This Game podcast for the 10th of April, 279. We'll be back in a fortnight for episode 280. It doesn't quite have the same ring to it, but anyway.
280!
In the meantime, we'll have another...
Does when you do it like that.
We'll have a video next week in which I have no idea what that'll be, but it'll be something. We'll do a video on something. Last week we did Terra Nil. We'll do something this next weekend coming up.
Maybe
thank
Dredge.
you, Steve. What?
Maybe Dredge.
Yeah, maybe. Thanks for watching, everyone. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Graham.
And we will be back in a fortnight. See ya. Bye.
Bye.